All right, let's go for it. You good? Got your juice? All right. Hello and welcome to them's Fightin Wurds podcast. My name's Sam Bradley.
My name's Robert Hughes.
And today we are coming to you from across video as well. We're up in our game. We're going to bring you a YouTube show, so it's a little bit clearer on some of the stuff we throw up on the screen when we're looking at it, like for Rob's Analyze.
Which you finally got a joke about that.
Finally got Analyze. Yeah, so it's we're going to probably drop the YouTube show every Friday, and obviously going to keep dropping the audio only on Tuesday. So when you've got a little bit more time at the weekend, you can check it out on video. So there was only one place to start, and that was UFC Fight Night London, Till versus Masvidal, and pretty good event. What did you think, man?
I thought there was some really great stuff. Obviously, lots of local fighters, which is always great to see. I am just going to pick up on one thing, and Sam, you did terrible on the notes. You still got it listed as Wichita.
Oh yeah, my bad.
All your fault. See, this is what happens when I let you do stuff.
It's true.
It was all going so well.
Obviously, we'll start at the top of the card. Darren Till.
What do we call
Masvidal?
So that's what we're calling the top of the card, because obviously there was a fight after. We'll get to that later.
We'll go to that into hot takes. Yeah, wow, what a fucking performance from Jorge Masvidal. He beat Darren Till by fighting like a champion.
Yeah, he looked absolutely phenomenal.
He was just, obviously he came out really quick, landed that low blow, accidental. Anyone who thought that threw Till off was sorely mistaken, because I think if you saw Darren Till fight straight back, dropped Jorge Masvidal with that left hand. But the most interesting thing, at least for me, about this fight was the footwork of Jorge Masvidal, the constant stance switching, the constant just throwing Darren Till's timing off enough so he couldn't land that left hand as frequently as he likes. Really good moves in, really unpredictable, and then fuck me, the knockout was just savagery. And it wasn't all the left hand, he dinged him with the right, pushed him onto the left, landed that left on the temple of Darren Till, and that was all she wrote. Darren Till was in a really bad way when he hit the canvas. They had to bring oxygen in because out. What did you make of it anyway, man?
I was going to say there was a couple of like you say, really good points. The movement from Masvidal was really great. He was working that count well. He was looking for the counter quite well, but he was eating a lot of shots, just sort of loading up for that one. But what was most surprising for me was Till taking it to the ground. There was times where he was looking to take it down to the canvas. Which we've never really seen from Till. We know he has relatively good grappling. Obviously he's got lucha livre, which is basically quote unquote a poor man's jiu-jitsu. But he's never really relied on that all that much. But it's kind of good he didn't, because it was not looking good for him being sat in Masvidal's guard. He was still taking a lot of damage, which it kind of just sort of meant he was quick back up to the feet. But really good fight from both of them, and you kind of see why it got Fight Night, even though didn't even make it most of the way through the second round.
Yeah, Darren Till, it was unusual. I know early in the first, when he dropped Jorge, he jumped in there, he was folding him up, looked to put him in that uncomfortable position. But then, like you say, he fell into Jorge Masvidal's guard in the early second, late first round, and then just got straight the fuck out there, because Jorge Masvidal was having none of that shit. Really good fight. Obviously, the balls on Jorge Masvidal to put Darren Till down in London. Fair play to that guy. Where next for Darren Till or Jorge Masvidal? Because Ben Askren wants to pick up one of those guys, and I think it's going to be Masvidal.
It's going to be Masvidal. It was always going to be the winner of that. Yeah, he was gunning for Till beforehand, but that's coming off the fact that Till is the most recent, obviously, bar Usman title contender. But Masvidal is certainly currently making a case for himself to be the next one in that ring, bar, say, Colby Covington or Ben Askren himself.
Yeah, maybe Colby versus the winner.
No, it's gonna be. I personally see it going to be Colby versus Usman. I still think that is actually going to end up happening.
I hope so, for Colby's sake. As much of a bloody idiot
more than anything. Yeah, I think more than anything, it's going to be Masvidal versus Askren, and that would be next contender.
Fucking 170, man. 170 is just
It's always
the
been one of the
shit
most
right
exciting
now.
places. It's always been one of the most exciting places in the UFC, definitely.
Mm. Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
you go back to the original days of, say, Matt Hughes. You had Matt Serra, BJ Penn when he was around there, and
GSP.
John Fitch, GSP. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on. Some of the, you could arguably say that some of the all-time greats, most of them have come out of welterweight.
I think that's because like 170 is just sort of like a median weight for high performing male athletes. You know, as soon as you get above that 185, 205, 265, you're pushing towards the not extremes, but to have a high athletic prowess at that size and to do something like mixed martial arts, it's almost like it becomes slightly rarer. Whereas most guys, I feel like in the Western world, who are relatively fit, about sort of between 5'11 and 6'1, seem to walk around at about 170 if they're really shredded down. Maybe, I don't know, Matt, that could all be pseudoscience.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's bro science right there. Bro
Yeah, a
science.
little bit. I was selling it pretty well, though. I was selling it pretty
Oh,
well.
definitely.
Yeah, poor old Darren Till. I don't know what he does. Obviously now that's his second loss on his record. He's now 17-2 to 1. Not dreadful for him. I can see him dropping down in the rankings a little. Do you think?
Yeah, but I kind of at the moment I'm definitely seeing more and more the potential step up to 185 for him.
There is that. Who would you put him against 185?
Literally anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Anderson Silva.
Oh no.
It's a bad day at the office for Darren Till. I feel like
It's a bad day at the office for both of them. Because
Do you think?
Yeah, because I think that might end up being one of the Anderson Silva fights that's boring as shit.
Why? Out of interest.
I don't know. It's always been when Anderson Silva can be really, really dominating in the striking, he has exciting matches because he could just light them up and he has some fun with that. When he's against someone who is also a really high level striker, I mean, even with Israel Adesanya, it wasn't the most exciting of matches, personally.
No, true. I can see it.
He can kind of sit back on his laurels a little bit, I'd say. And I think considering Darren Till doesn't have the striking pedigree that Israel Adesanya had, I think it could end up being quite a boring match.
That's fair.
Again, that's just shitty bro science. There's no actual fact to it, but I just think that's what would end up happening.
MMA math, bro.
Exactly.
Do you want to kick down the card to Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson?
If I have to.
I wasn't as angry at this fight as you fucking clearly are.
I'm not angry. It's just, it wasn't an amazing fight. Very, very dominant by Leon Edwards, I would say. The sort of Southport Orthodox fight was in quite heavy pursuit in this, wasn't it? There was quite a few of the alternate stances going up against each other, which is always quite funny to watch because some people just really cannot cope with it. Some people just really, really struggle with the fact that my foot's hitting their foot when it shouldn't be hitting their foot. I love seeing like someone who's been a really top level boxer who's never been up against a southpaw the first time they meet a southpaw. It's just funny to watch sometimes because they're just like, I should be able to step in. But there was
that overhand left and that right body kick.
Yeah, but Leon Edwards looked pretty good. He had really good top control in the end of first round there. But the fact he was managing to outstrike Gunnar Nelson, someone who is arguably someone who loves to just go in and bang, although he does have very, very good jiu-jitsu, especially when you take into consideration he's SBG Ireland.
Zing.
I mean, it was definitely very, very dominant striking for Edwards there. But I mean, coming into that, what was it, round 2, where he managed to drop him with that elbow, and
that was really good work.
Yeah, locked in that sort of plume clinch, and then just knocked it straight up with the left there was absolutely phenomenal. Nelson was really, really struggling towards the end. I genuinely don't understand how that was scored as a split decision. I don't see in any way Gunnar Nelson could be deemed a winner of
any of
the majority. I mean, arguably any of the rounds, let alone enough to give him a victory in one judge's mind. That was just absolutely fun. Just what the fuck? It was just weird.
Yeah, it was peculiar, especially seeing as even when they were going to the ground, Gunnar Nelson was sort of wrapping the legs and trying to lift his hips up to take away that explosive get up power. But even as he was doing that, Leon Edwards was busting him up. Basically, he was dropping shots wherever he could. He was doing what you're supposed to do when you're on the ground, is to just stay busy, even if you're not in like a dangerous position, but you are on the bottom or you're in a compromised position, just keep working, because the judges don't know what the fuck they're looking at half the time. And if they see one guy lighting another guy up off his back, they're still probably going to give you the points, which is wrong, but it is playing the system, you know.
I was gonna say the thing to take into consideration now is where the hell do we send Leon Edwards?
Shit, is he top 10 now? Assuming he's going to be
Yeah,
top 10?
yeah. No, he's gonna have to be. He's well. The last loss he had was to Kamaru Usman back in 2015. Since then, he's beaten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's on a 7-win streak since meeting Usman.
Yeah, I God, it's that 170 conundrum, isn't it? I mean, fuck, not okay. So let's work down. Not Colby. Let's assume he's going to go for the title. Not Darren Till, maybe Darren Till. If you assume that Jorge Masvidal is going to take Askren.
I mean, that would be a very popular one in England because obviously both of them English fighters. Yeah. So yeah, you could kind of make that argument. It would be a good one to make.
Yeah, you could do something in Liverpool, I guess. I think Darren Till's still a big enough name. I know 2 losses. Who gives a fuck? They're still going to headline a card in Liverpool with him. Yeah. Maybe that. I mean, Bellator, I know we don't speak the name too often, are doing a event in Birmingham, I think it is, relatively soon. So you know that Birmingham has the infrastructure to host those kind of events.
That's going to be that's the Brent Primus card, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So maybe then, because obviously Edwards is a Birmingham guy. I don't know. I think it's a nice problem to have for the 170 division. Frankly, I think all these fucking great fights. You know, you put Robbie Lawler, he's still in the mix.
Yeah, he's still
whatever the fuck.
That'd be an exciting fight, actually. Leon Edwards versus Robbie Lawler would be great. Kickboxing would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd ever see another 8-second knockout from Leon Edwards?
I mean, keep throwing him at people.
Somebody's got to land. It's working for Johnny Walker at the moment.
Fat bloody man. Anyway, let's kick up the weight class down the card to Dominic Reyes versus Volkan Ozdemir. Yeah, what the fuck, judges? What are we even doing here? Dominic Reyes. Sorry, I realise we haven't actually been reading the results. Dominic Reyes beat Volkan Ozdemir via split decision, 29-28, 29-28, 28-29. Volkan Ozdemir was by far, to my eye, and I got a pretty good eye for striking. Volkan Ozdemir was ahead. To me, he won 2.5 of the 3 rounds. What did you make of that?
Yeah, you can win half a round. That's not how judging works. I mean, it might in London because they don't know how to judge, but that's not how judging works.
Fucking all right. So he definitely won 2 of 3.
Yeah, I'd definitely say first round could arguably be Ozdemir. Those bombs he was landing at the end of the first round were staggering. Yeah, you could definitely say Reyes was definitely sort of backpedaling a little bit in the second round. And you know, that was a really strong finish for Ozdemir. I would agree. It definitely did look straight up. First 2 rounds were already in Ozdemir's corner, but yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how the scoring sort of worked here. It's a weird one. He just looked absolutely dominated. He was in a very, very bad way, especially coming into the end of round 3. I don't know. It's weird.
It is peculiar because you look at even those little minor incremental gains of things like octagon control, just outward aggression. I mean, maybe you could have given it to Reyes on aggression. I don't know, but I didn't see any of the rounds being that close to need to go to those.
Aggression is such a small aspect. Someone can come in very, very aggressive and constantly getting being lit up. You don't then turn around and say, well, they were more aggressive, so they must win that round. It's
no, but if you're judging a round so closely,
but I don't see it being being competitive. The first round, he was knocked down by a leg kick. straight away that gives you a 10-8 round, arguably.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
So that's straight away. Uzdemir is ahead. And
yeah,
could drop around easily and still win the fight. It just doesn't make sense.
yeah. It was a real shame for Uzdemir. They're both obviously still hanging out in the top 10 of the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Dominic Reyes, I mean, if you look at him on paper, just on paper, take out that we don't think the fight should have gone that way. He's now 11-0 MMA, something like that. 2-3-0 in UFC. I haven't got exactly the figures in front of me, but he's making his way.
But that's
and he's making his way into the dangerous deep waters now of that division. Yeah. So who the fuck even knows?
But this is completely destroying Uzdemir. You got to bear in mind he's coming off the loss to Daniel Cormier. Mm-hmm. He then met obviously Anthony Smith, lost to him. Mm-hmm. Now with this, that's 3 on the trot. I mean, he's losing that hype that was around him back in January 2018.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, he was a big name because he had that win over OSP, that win over Kirkinov, that win over was it Manua? He ended up beating just before he went up against Daniel Cormier, wasn't it?
I think
he beat him.
So
214.
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he beat Manua at 214, then obviously met Cormier back in the January. But it's he was a guy that everyone was sort of talking about, and he was the next guy. He's now. The 2 finishes you can't deny, but to then have this on his record, where again we're saying he won, but unfortunately the record says he didn't. Mm-hmm. So it's a really, really dangerous position for him. Hopefully he's not going into contract negotiations right now, because it's going to be terrible for him if he is.
Well, yeah, 3 losses. People have been cut for less. Let's be honest. I think Anthony Smith should fight Dominic Reyes next. Fuck it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not agree with that one.
Who would you put him against?
What, Dominic Reyes?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't mind seeing him against someone, maybe like a Hua, maybe a
gatekeeper.
You could turn around and say maybe Thiago Santos, but obviously he's on the tear up, much like Anthony Smith was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places you could kind of put those fights taking place. So, I mean, he's already beat OSP. He's already beaten Cannonier. You know what? I'd maybe an Anthony Smith, maybe a Thiago, maybe someone like Kirkinov.
That'd be a good fight. What about Johnny Walker?
No. If anything, it's going to have to be Walker Santos for #1 contender.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think from a marketing perspective, you're probably right there, because Walker and Reyes, you've got to assume, are 2 guys they're trying to give not an easy run, but they're trying to give a bit of a run to give John Jones something to fucking do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Trying to keep him away from that heavyweight.
If the reports are to be believed.
Because if you think about it, if they let John Jones go up to heavyweight, I mean, the whole thing about the pulsing is it happened because of weight cut. If he's not doing a weight cut and he pulses, what's their excuse then?
Oh, it's true. It's that genie. It's the genie out of the bottle. I fucking said it the other week. There's the dark arts, man. It's the dark arts of building fights and promoting fights. Oh, incidentally, Dana White signed another contract with, I presume, himself for another 7 years at the UFC.
Well, no, you've got to bear in mind, the UFC, they work as a standard corporation. He's just signed on as the president for another 7 years. That's
awesome.
All it is. Yeah.
Let's kick down to Britt Nathaniel Wood. He beat Jose Alberto Quinones via submission.
I like the fact you've put your pronunciation there, because you're not as brave as me.
Phonetic. No, I can't take on Magnameb Sharipov. Oh, nailed it. Via submission, RNC. What's that?
You'll say that, but you'll still fuck up Jeremy Stevens.
That was a weird one. This was an RNC. This was a really good fight. I mean, Nathaniel Wood, he's now on an 8-fight win streak in the bantamweight division. Longest moment, isn't it? Yeah, longest in the bantamweight division. I think the bantamweight division is, God, if I fucking say bantamweight division again, but I think that division is one of the best in the UFC.
What division is it? Sorry,
bantamweight division.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, this was another Southpaw versus Orthodox fight as well. Everything you want from a bantamweight fight, frankly. Good bang, very quick, and then
Yeah,
finished in a submission.
landing those power hands really nice and early, and yeah, just dropping, trying to sink in the choke, couldn't quite get that. Went for another one, banged again. Yeah, it was an exciting one to watch. Actually, I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. He went for a Darce choke, didn't he, early in the
Yeah, early in the first round.
round?
After he dropped him with that big right coming over the top, and then yeah, I mean, yeah, couldn't quite cinch it in, couldn't quite get his hand up into the elbow to really lock that in. But yeah, no, really really good performance.
It was a nice trip as well, which took Quinones down to the ground.
Yeah,
That
did the outside leg
trip.
trip, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I always like to see that done well. When he scrambled straight on top of him, got the hooks in. Yeah, really, really great performance. Anyway, let's move down to Jack Marshman, yeah, versus John Phillips, the in the Valleys.
Yeah. So I looked into it a little bit more. He is still active.
So yeah,
we discussed
serves,
week,
right?
whether he is still with Paris. But yeah, so obviously he came in over the limit. He came in at 188 anyway, so that's why we had the catchweight fight in the end against John Phillips. Marshman is, he's one of the best coming out of England at the moment. He was he Cage Warriors and Bama, wasn't he?
Yes, he was Cage Warriors and Bama's champion.
Both their champions, and we kind of figured out last time that he can take a hell of a punch, and dear God, did he have to take one again? He was eating a lot of right hands, wasn't he?
Yeah, he beat John Phillips unanimous decision, 29-28 times 2, obviously then 28-29. Yeah, this was just a bit of a fridge fight, and not in like the usual way I use that term. It was actually, there was stuff to look at here.
Yeah, he definitely lost the first round. Like I say, he got knocked down in that first round, and Phillips was just working really nicely from the center. He was controlling the ring. Second round, Marshman probably looking a lot more to the body, was taking the center of the ring a little bit more. His movement was a lot better. He was he wasn't. He was still taking a lot of hits, but he was just giving a lot more in return, and then just defending a lot better. I think in the second round, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think, he was just given as good as he got for the last 2 rounds. And unfortunately, when you hit like Jack Marshman, because he does hit like a fucking tank, what are you going to do? Yeah, there was a thing about his army service. I know it's in hot takes, but we might as well bring it up now. Didn't he?
Well, it's actually one of my recommended reads, but I actually recommended it once. How dare you?
I know. We'll save that then. We'll save it for the end of the show. At the top of the undercard was Arnold. I'll start that again. Arnold Allen.
Wow, do you really want to big up your pronunciation skills when you managed to do Arnold Allen? Right?
Arnold Allen, fucked it up twice. He beat Jordan Rinaldi. Nailed it. 30-27, 30-26, 29-28, which just that result in itself shows us that the judging was all over the fucking show. Yeah, take us through this one.
I mean, it's Rinaldi is probably one of the best grapplers in the featherweight division at the moment. He's got Von Flu chokes. He's got I think 4 or 5 submissions on the run up to this one. And Allen himself coming off that submission win over because he was on the Liverpool card, wasn't he?
He was. That was his debut, I believe,
with the UFC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trains over at TriStar with Faraz Zahabi and all those sort of ones. Really, really patient from Allen. I said he wasn't looking he definitely wasn't looking to take it to the ground. He was being very conservative with his striking. He was
makes sense.
He was placing them really nicely. He was more looking to counter on the takedown attempts from Rinaldi. He was looking for the decision. He wasn't going to be overcommitting himself. The problem is when people try and go in for like a ground and pound against a really good jiu-jitsu guy, that opens you up straight away to the potential of being finished quite easily. Round 3, Rinaldi sort of stepped up his aggression a lot more. He was landing counters really, really nicely. But I mean, the first 2 rounds had easily gone to Allen. He was just controlling the octagon so well in those first 2. And
it was really good. He Arnold Allen apologized after the fight. I don't know why. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was a bit boring." I don't think it was. I think there's a difference between boring and patient, and I think it's something that a lot of fans.
100% agree.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans sometimes, and fucking Tyron Woodley gets in the neck.
Derek Lewis was being really, really patient when he beat Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. No, that I mean, obviously that was a boring fight, but I think Tyron Woodley used to get it in the neck. Boring, patient. I think you're in there to win a fight. If you want to watch a fucking bang fest, go and watch bare knuckle fighting, which we'll come to in a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, this fucking sport. Let's kick down
if
to.
you want bang fest more than anything, go over to one, because most of their fights end up being a bang fest or just incredible grappling. So
Yeah, but even their bang fest over at one, there's still a little bit of mystique to it, I think.
if you say so.
I don't know. Maybe sometime. I don't fucking know. 155. Also on the undercard, we had Mark. How do you pronounce his last name? I want to say Diakise, but it's not.
I think Diakise.
Diakise, yeah. He beat Joe Duffy in another unanimous decision, 30-27.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. There was a lot of decisions going on Saturday.
And on a fight night when you got six fights
and in London where people are twats. I mean, what?
Boom! Entire audience just nuked. Gone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Both men came in looking to break losing streaks. There was a really good back and forth, sort of that low-level calf kick, that sort of quote-unquote classic feeling out of the range where you just slap that calf kick in just to see where the other guy's at and how he reacts.
Yeah.
But Diakise was far more aggressive and far more creative.
It looked like he was starting to gas a little bit in round two, though. So did he sort of overcommit himself a little bit too much in round one, and then just had to be sort of a big step back for him in round two? But he just tried carrying it on, and it kind of just worked out for him. Yeah,
because he was coming off the back of a few losses, and you saw how much it meant to him in the post-fight interview. He totally broke down, and you can understand why it means a lot to him. But really good. Really good fight. Again, another sort of low-key good fight where there was just enough action to keep the casuals interested and just enough going on to sort of be worth a watch. Oh my god, dirty fight before that. Sapabek Safarov versus Nikolai. Come on, man, help me out here.
Negumereanu.
Nailed it. Safarov won 29-26, 29-26, 29-27. He's a master of sport in combat sambo. Yep. It was Nikolai's UFC debut, but there was really weird, just fucking dirty, shady shenanigans.
I mean, isn't that a lot of what sambo is anyway? It's quite a dirty sort of game in terms of the grappling aspect of it, and I know exactly what you're on about, and it was the cage grabbing. He was deducted points for that, wasn't he? And he still managed to, obviously, because he dominated each round, and then he was deducted a point. That's the only reason it became a 29 fight for him.
Right? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Obviously he hit Nikolai after the ref came between him, and then the ref. I didn't note down who the referee was at that match. Excuse me, but the ref went to the corner and said, look, to whoever seemed to speak English the best, you tell him to fucking stop grabbing the cage, or I'm going to make sure you lose this fight, essentially. I'm going to keep taking points because he's just fighting dirty. Yeah. Which, fair enough, fair enough. Down at featherweight, we had Dan Ige versus Danny... Oh, yeah, go on.
Mention one thing, because I think the thing you were most excited about in that fight, the Safarov fight, was the fact that the commentary team were dissing flat earthers.
Yeah, Paul. We should give a shout out to Felder. Team, actually, Paul Felder, Dan Hardy, and John Gooden. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, Dan Hardy and Paul Felder especially had a good back and forth. It was just fun. Paul Felder clearly doesn't take himself too seriously, which is nice. Which I think is where sometimes Dominic Cruz falls down when he's partnered with like Joe Rogan, for example, who is a stand-up comedian and sort of a bit more of a personality. No, I like Paul Felder and Dan Hardy especially, and John Gooden is obviously one of those good sort of glue guys. Like Anik is just a good glue guy.
He brings every team together really nicely.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go down to Dan Ige versus Danny Henry. Dan Ige beat Danny Henry, via submission RNC in the first round, 1 minute 17. Not much to say here. Good back and forth. Ige closed the distance, ripped the body, knocked Henry down with a big left, took the back, sunk in the choke.
Yeah, it was a really quick transition, really nice, really good performance from Ige.
I missed the fight night, the Fight Pass prelims. So do you want to just?
Because there wasn't any.
Oh, were they not on the Fight Pass?
No, because obviously the Tom Breeze fight got dropped because I can't remember, because of an injury and everything like that, and they just brought it all up to the undercard. They didn't do Fight Pass prelims in the end. But yeah, we had Meatball Molly McCann versus Priscilla Cachera. Really good performance from McCann. She had sort of an eye injury, which I think might be down to a fractured orbital bone, based off the position of it and the way it sort of swelled up. But she's the first female English winner in the UFC ever,
which seems mad, and then you think about it, and it's
but we've actually had a few Scottish and Irish and everything like that, but she's the first from England, which is great. She made her debut back at UFC Liverpool, didn't obviously go quite her way, but good recovery here. She got a good win, quite exciting. The crowd really loved her, and she's on to good stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, and before that at 145 we had Mike Grundy versus Bristol-born fella Nad Narimani. Unfortunately, this didn't go Nad's way. Yeah,
so Mike Grundy, he's a teammate of Darren Till, and Nad Narimani, like you say, he's from Bristol. He's trained quite a lot with Saida Smiley over at Smiley Wrestling, and Mike Grundy has always been a bit of a heel to them. But it was looking pretty good for Nad in the first round. He was working really nicely. Movement was looking good. He was using feints, just sort of setting up that range really nicely. Mm-hmm. But Grundy was just sort of, that right hand was meeting his chin just a little bit too much in that first round. And then just sort of towards the end of the first round, Grundy tried sort of taking it to the floor, and Narimani, being a very, very good wrestler in himself, was pretty easy back up to the feet for him. Although Nad is a very good wrestler, he kind of already knew that Grundy was a little bit ahead of him in the grappling game. Second round, Narimani again was really quick, trying to pull that trigger, trying to land really quickly, but Grundy's counters were just finding them mark really nicely. Cut up Nad's face, but Nad was definitely the aggressor, pushing forward quite nicely. Grundy shot for the takedown, stopped again, but then that big right hook just looped over the top of Nad's guard, and from there it was just a case of Grundy opening up against the cage. And once Nad was up against the fence, it was he couldn't really do much to recover. So first KO win ever for Grundy. Got the second round TKO. Nad now obviously 2-for-1 after he debuted back at UFC Hamburg,
right?
And then he was at the Buenos Aires card as well. So he's still looking pretty good for the featherweight division over at the UFC. Hopefully he carries on and a bit more success for him.
He's still won fucking 60% of his fights. Do you know what I mean? If you want to look at it like that, 2-1 when you've been in that long, who gives a fuck?
I'm really disappointed in your math that you don't know it's 66.6 recurring.
All right, recurring. Ooh, I'm Rob. I know numbers.
I know how to divide by 3.
That was UFC London. Pretty good event. I mean, I'm always going to have that fucking, I think fight nights are like 2 fights too long. But lots of local talent.
Fights, so fuck you.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, strong point. What are we looking forward to?
Well, we have another UFC event this week.
Boom.
Can't remember exactly where it is. It's the Thompson Pettis card. Can you?
I want to say Chicago.
Chicago, sweet home, Chicago.
I think one of us should fucking Google that. Take us through what we should be looking at anyway.
At the moment.
Okay, well I'll go for that. It's headlined by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's back at 170 versus Anthony Pettis. Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis is on that card. Who else is there? Macy Barber versus JJ Aldrich. That opens the main card that night. There's some really good stuff on the undercard. There's Frankie.
Yes, Tom McDessie. Luis Pena, who is obviously Violent Bob Ross. He he lost to Trinaldi back at
right. Yeah.
To sort of decide who was actually the winner of the last tough season.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got? Hussein Famija. We have John McDessie, JJ Aldrich. That's going to be a good one for the flyweight division against Macy Barber.
Do like to watch Macy Barber fight. She's great. On the undercard, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Bobby Moffett. We've got Frankie Saenz versus Marlon Vera. That's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a really good fight.
Alexis versus Jennifer Maia. That's going to be a great one for the flyweights. That's going to be a really good one to watch.
Below that, we have Randa Marcus versus Angela Hill in the women's strawweight division. That's going to be another sort of low-key banger, I think.
Yeah.
Ryan McDonald versus Chris Gutierrez, and then Eric Shelton versus Jordan Espo.
I would say Shelton. He's the one that beat Joseph Morales back at the Korean Zombie Rodriguez fight, wasn't it? That was a really good, really, really good fight. Got a split decision win, but I mean, before that, he was against Alex Perez, who in himself is an absolute fucking killer. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited about that one.
It's going to be a good card. I hope they can keep it together. I'm actually sort of quite excited about Curtis Blades against Justin Willis. I think it's interesting to see where both those guys are at right now.
Yeah. But I mean, we got to talk Stephen Thompson versus Pettis. Obviously, Showtime making this step up to welterweight for the first time, and he's going up against one of the greatest strikers in the welterweight division. It's going to be great.
I think Pettis can give Stephen Thompson trouble.
Oh, 100%.
How much trouble? Don't know. It depends how he takes to 170.
Well, we're definitely not going to see a beating of. We're not going to see a beating of Pettis like we saw against Tony Ferguson.
Oof,
because Thompson is not that much of an aggressor. So
no, he's a point
he's
fighter.
Very much that point fighter. So we're not going to be seeing an absolute bloodbath and people screaming with blood falling down their faces, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Way to make it boring, guys.
Yeah. Should we do hot takes?
Hot takes. Play the jingle.
Anyway, speaking of Tony Ferguson, he has had, obviously, people in the know, you may have seen, there's been reports his wife filed for a restraining order against Tony and her, and between Tony and their son. Obviously, Tony Ferguson was looked over for the interim belt. Dana White at the time alluded to personal issues, but we've sort of, since this police report's been filed, we've had a little bit more of an insight. And Tony Ferguson, in terms of his mental health, is not in a great way. And I'm going to try and speak as respectfully as I can to this. Tony Ferguson, anyone who follows Tony Ferguson on Instagram will know he's been posting some fairly out there stuff, even for Tony Ferguson. And apparently he's been saying to his wife that there are people walking in the walls of his house, things you would associate with someone who's had a little bit of a mental breakdown, a mental episode. Again, trying to speak as respectfully as I can, because I obviously know people who have dealt with this stuff. And yeah, it seems like on the flip side, Tony Ferguson is getting the help that he needs from his management and from the UFC, which is great. I don't know if you want to talk to this at all. In terms of surrounding this,
there's a couple of things for this one. So, obviously, in a lot of cases, when we've seen this sort of story coming out, a lot of people go to the domestic abuse aspect of stuff. That is in no way the sort of circumstance here. Christina Ferguson, obviously Tony's wife, has come forward and said he is a good husband and a great father. Legal proceedings are basically just a process to ensure that Tony will receive the help necessary, not to just completely isolate and alienate him. She's not doing it because he's a bad person. She's doing it because she wants to make sure he gets the help. That's all it is. She wants him to carry on being a good father, being able to pursue being a UFC fighter for as long as he can. It sounds like already he's starting to take a good turn. He's in good spirits at the moment. Even Conor McGregor has come round and said some fairly nice stuff, which is always good, especially considering, I mean, it might be just because he's taking a lot of flack at the moment, but it's always good to see the fighters supporting each other. There's nothing to stop your enemies in the ring, but there's nothing to stop you being gentlemen outside of it.
Absolutely. And I think
it's weird to say that about Conor as well.
Well, yeah, but I think it's nice that even Conor, for whatever reason, has parked the bullshit to do the right thing. Not in like the objective, not even like the right thing, but the objective right thing to do is to give a shout out. He's in your division. You could end up staring across the octagon at him one day, and
do you want him in a good mental state when you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, he might kill you.
Yeah, we wish Tony all the best, and I really hope
100%.
that in a couple of weeks we can bring positive news about, I don't know, a fight or treatment he's receiving or whatever. Yeah. Moving on to slightly merrier climes. Michael Bisping got inducted into the Hall of Fame at
Did at
UFC
UFC
London, which
London.
was fucking great. Really like seeing that.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic. If it, perfect place to do it. London was sort of where we saw the rise of Michael Bisping, because was he Bama or was he yeah, he was Bama, wasn't he?
Bama, yeah.
Yeah, and he's one of the greatest to come out of England. He's the very first British champion, especially English. And yeah, he did incredible stuff for the sport over here. Obviously, he headlined multiple Manchester cards. He had that incredible fight with Anderson Silva.
Rock
Well,
hold fight.
yeah, I mean, God, both Rockhold fights were
Yeah.
actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously he retired early last year, and it was very good to see him inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, credit to the sport. He's got a super successful podcast. He's a pundit
Believe You
of
Me, wasn't it? It's Believe You Me with
Believe You Me.
Louis. I can't remember the name of the comedian he does it with, but yeah,
It's
you know
really
what?
great.
I've listened to it a few times, and that's really good. He's also now become one of the greatest MMA panelists that Fox and ESPN have dealt with.
I
He was
want to see him
absolutely
ringside.
there. I think that would be great. I think having him as a proper color commentator would be really really good progression for him. Obviously, I know he's doing a few more films at the moment. I don't. Was it Triple Frontier he's in? I can't remember. I know he's doing some films at the moment.
He did something.
Um,
Triple Frontier is that new one with Ben Affleck. It's the Netflix one, right? It
yeah, I
looks
think
pretty
so.
good. I don't know if he's in that. He was in Triple Threat, I think it was called.
Oh, that's yeah, that might be the one then.
But he's doing all the right things. He's doing all the things that are crossover coming out of
As long as
sports
he
kind of
doesn't as
guy.
long as he doesn't do anything as stupid as the fucking scene where he beats someone up with a book in Triple X. As long as he never does anything like that again,
How
because
dare you, sir?
I mean
How dare
the
you?
the lines were ridiculous. He was beating him up
How
and asking for a blurb.
how,
He was
how
giving a
dare you,
synopsis.
sir?
Den of Thieves. That's the other one he did, wasn't it? Den of Thieves
Yeah.
was
Someone
Max
else was in
Holloway
that.
in that one. Max Holloway's in that one as
Yes,
well.
yes, he was. Yeah, I think one of the Pettises was in a movie recently as well. Anyway, we could spend all night on
Yeah,
this.
go on.
What else you got, my man?
Let's have a look. Okay, you wanted to do this one, but Bare Knuckle Boxing have offered Conor McGregor bare money to fight Paulie Malignaggi in the competition. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think he's just going to be Artem?
I don't think that's going to happen, and I think
I don't
Paulie's
think
going to
so.
fight Artem, the goat. Yeah, I had to put that in because Jesus. While we're on the subject, here's one for you.
You
While
had
we're
to
on the
put that
subject
in
of
because I
Conor
was
McGregor,
drinking at that point.
yeah,
I was trying to drink, and you were like, "Let's make Rob laugh."
let's put the goat in. Speaking of Conor McGregor, he said that he will fight on a co-main event for shares in the UFC.
No, he won't.
Conor seems to have. I don't know, man. I would really like to know what the actual politics between Conor McGregor, Dana White, and IMG WME are. I would love to know where those three parties actually sit with each other in a serious way, because Conor must feel like he has some sway to say all this ridiculous stuff the
Yeah,
week
I
he's
don't see it
fucking
happening.
arrested.
I really don't see it happening. If it was ever going to happen, it was going to be that Khabib fight. Connor's rapport has gone down since then. He's taken another loss. He's taken another
Yeah,
court
his
case.
market value has gone down as well, hasn't he, with the loss? And
He's lost it, and people have realised that proper 12 whiskey shit.
it's an ice and water jobby. I'll tell you that much. It is an ice and water jobby. Um, yeah, here's one. Yeah, I know you want to take this next one, so let's just
Leon Edwards,
this.
Leon Edwards has obviously issued a statement because of the brawl that he had with Jorge Masvidal. If anyone doesn't realise what we're on about here, because Sam didn't want to put it in as the headline of that actual
I
fight
didn't want
night.
to say it was headline fight. Yeah,
But basically, him and Masvidal met up behind the scenes and basically just got 3 times just completely clocked in the jaw. He then did an interview, which I thought was hilarious because normally they don't interview people after a KO. But I mean, come on, you know I have to say that. But yeah, to be honest, Leon Edwards is not pressing charges. Dana White is not going to bring anything against them. He actually sees it kind of as their fault. The UFC shouldn't have allowed those two to be anywhere near each other.
Yeah, and I think props to Jorge Masvidal, actually. Jorge Masvidal's doing this, has just laid out this really impressive KO of Darren Till, only the second guy to do so. And then Leon Edwards picks that moment to talk shit. Mm,
I'm sorry, but
I don't buy
if
that. I think that's classless from Leon Edwards, personally.
if a guy like Masvidal starts walking up to you with his hands behind his back, you do not go near him.
Fucking run. The man's terrifying. The man can kill you with his hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Jesus. What did Dana say? I can't believe this even happened. Why, Dana? You've built a career on it. Let's be honest. It's a good job one of them wasn't in a fucking bus. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I know, it's fine. If it was in a bus, you just put him on the next biggest pay-per-view of all times.
It's true. It's true. I cannot tell a lie.
Errol Spence Jr. defended his IBF welterweight championship against the WBC lightweight champion Mickey Garcia the other night.
I didn't
really,
see it.
really good fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good one to watch actually. Some really good boxing on show.
Oh,
Even the undercard was pretty good actually, which was more than we can say for a lot of the UFC.
true
Chris,
that.
Chris Lieben has filed a lawsuit against the World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation due to an unpaid purse.
There's a lot of that going around over there.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot in the bare knuckle world. Maybe because it's a fuck sport. But whatever.
It's all fighting.
True. I want you to take this one.
Here's the thing. There's a proposed stadium being built in Dagestan, and someone somewhere has released concept art, and it basically looks like fucking Khabib's hat. What's it called? The
paprika.
The paprika.
Yeah.
And that's the whole hot take. It's hunt out the concept art. It's ridiculous.
That is the only way. If that stadium gets built, that is the only way I'm going to allow Khabib versus Conor 2.
In the hat.
In the hat.
I'd watch it.
Everyone has to wear a hat, including Conor.
While they fight.
Yeah,
or else it's silly.
And allow headbutts at that point.
Well, yeah, because it's soft. Yeah, all of this, mate. We're not saying anything unreasonable. Mackenzie Dern, despite being pregnant, she's eyeing a return between now and the end of 2019.
I think she's 8 months pregnant at the moment, so obviously that puts her towards the end of April due date, and she's looking for a return around October time, she said.
I mean, yeah. Do you want to, when you got a baby at home, to take a night off to get kicked in the fucking face? Do you want to have a fight camp after that? I don't know. I mean, I hope so, because it's nice to see that people can actually have lives outside of fighting. But yeah, I want to see her come back. But fucking hell, mind you, I suppose there's a lot of the year left, so we'll see. What else you got, my man?
Rachel Ostovich, her husband, pleads no contest to the assault charges. So that means he's most likely to avoid jail time. If he does get it, it'll be sort of up to 5 years in prison or a £10,000 fine. But to be honest, Ostovich is pretty happy with that result, because it basically means no contest means he's just going to accept whatever charge they give him. He's not going to put forward any evidence against or for or anything like that. It completely avoids that trial. But she's turned around and said, I'm satisfied that Arnold is accepting responsibility for his actions and getting the needed help so that he can be the best father to our daughter. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. Yeah, I suppose
it is, but kind of trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah, terrible situation, but I think as well for Ostovich, it kind of stops her name continuously being attached. And that's not on her. I have to say that straight up front. She's in no way at fault for being hit by her husband. But from a marketing point of view, I guess there is also that, I suppose. Do we have... Oh, yeah, there's a big one. Polaris 9. Take us through this one, man.
So, Polaris 9 was the other night. I probably should have put it up with the other results. But if anyone knows, Polaris is one of the sort of grappling-only events that has started taking to the fore at the moment. You can watch it on Fight Pass. But there was some really, really good fights. So it was Rafael Lovato Jr. versus Jake Shields. Obviously, Jake Shields, PFL at the moment, and ex-UFC legend as such. He beat some of the best over there. Rafael Lovato Jr., one of the guys who's pretty much dominating the middleweight division over in Bellator, was supposed to be fighting Gegard Mousasi for the belt back in December, I want to say, but Mousasi had to
Yes.
pull out. But yeah, Rafael Lovato Jr. managed to get the decision there. Really, really good performance. Fian Davis, this is one I really wanted to talk about. She beat Gazari Matuda by a arm triangle choke in the first round. Fiona Davis is an absolute killer. She got her black belt, I think, back in July last year. She's the first Welsh women's black belt ever in jiu-jitsu. I think she's a judo black belt as well, but she's IBJJF World No-Gi Champion 2018. She won the European Championships this year, World Championship back in 2018 as a brown belt, and then World No-Gi Champion back in 2016 when she was still a purple belt. So, yeah, she's an absolute killer, an absolute
Not
pride
to be fucked with.
Yeah, definitely not. She's absolutely phenomenal, and I look forward to seeing her fight again. I think she took their belt for Polaris because they've started doing a lot of the belt stuff, which is actually really cool to watch. There was Wagner Rocha versus Ross Nichols. That was a split decision win for Wagner. I just want to mention Ross Nichols. He's pretty much one of the best British and European competitors of the generation. He has very, very exciting performances. He's done a lot of big international events, obviously such as Polaris. I don't think he's done EBI. But he pretty much dominated the ADWC European Championships towards the end of last year. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. And then some other ones. There was Ethan Krelinston versus Thomas Halpin. That was a really good armbar submission. And then Eduardo Rios versus Santero Lilius. And that was a really good split decision win there for Eduardo.
Boom. There's your hot takes, kids. Today is recommended read. Obviously, I actually have one this week. This is a really good one. I'm going to link it in. It's from Bloody Elbow. It's about Asian MMA, and it's entitled "Finding China's Martial Arts Renaissance in a 4,000-Year-Old Wrestling System." It's basically the first of a two-part feature on Kung Fu's past and present, and it's really well worth a watch. It's a very long read, but it's all about the culture of it. Why certain styles lingered, why certain styles were forgotten, why certain styles of martial arts came to the forefront with the rise of things like MMA. There is 2 parts out now, so I'll link them both in the description below the podcast. But if you're looking for a good meaty read, this is the one. Do we have we have another recommended read, don't we, from Roberto?
Yeah, so we mentioned it a little bit earlier on. We were on talking about Marshman. He is obviously, like I said, a currently enlisted with the Free Powers of the British Army, and he was just basically turning around and saying, giving the story about how he pretty much almost didn't fight on Saturday. So go and read that one. That's available over in MMA Junkie.
I do.
Yeah, it's actually a really good read.
Do we have a recommended watch, sir?
We do indeed, and it's actually pro wrestling.
Okay.
Please don't hate me, but it's a film of pro wrestling. It's Fighting with My Family. It only just came out. I went and watched it with my girlfriend on Sunday. And you know
the
what?
Stephen Merchant one.
Yeah, with Stephen Merchant in it, and Nick Frost, and Dwayne Johnson's in it, and Vince Vaughn. And you know what? It was I absolutely loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There was some really, really good comedy. There was really good sort of character progression, good chemistry between the main girl who plays Paige, who's
she's a real
champion.
It's a biopic, right?
It's all based on a real story. And the person who plays Paige and Vince Vaughn, the sort of chemistry between them was actually really, really funny at times. And I really got to like it, and it pulled my heartstrings at times. So yeah, I'd actually recommend going and watching it.
Check it out.
I hate having to say that because it's pro wrestling.
Try it out.
Try it out.
Okay, so that's our first proper video show.
I mean, we've got a couple in the bag that we're going to release, but
we got a couple of not as well put together ones, I think, just to sort of give you a taste of how far we've come. But yeah, hopefully we're going to start doing this every week, and we're going to drop it on a Friday or Saturday in time for your weekend viewing on YouTube. Obviously, the audio is going to be available still every Tuesday on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud, so keep checking that out. And where are we? We're also on Instagram, aren't we? That's Rob's forte.
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We are on Twitter, but I rarely ever use it. And
Check
obviously
out
follow us
Instagram.
on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that of course. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think there's only left for me to say. I've been Sam Bradley.
I've been Robert Hughes.
We will see you next Tuesday.
Very much.